Hi everybody and welcome to Heel Heat. My name is George Coles, and on this episode we're walking in Memphis. Topic of this Walking in Memphis, USWA from July 5th, 1997. Now if you haven't seen any of my videos before, I do grade everything on a 1 to 5 scale. For Walking in Memphis, we consider it per segment, basically commercial break to commercial break. With that being said, let's jump right into it. We start the show off, a little introduction of what's going to come. We get a smidget of an interview with Jerry Lawler and the Cat. Supposedly, on this show, Jerry Lawler is going to say if he's Brian Christopher's father or not. More on that to come. Then we go right into our first match. We have PJ Walker going up against Yellow Jacket. PJ Walker, in case you don't know, is better known as Just Incredible. This was kind of funny because the commentary team was saying that he's a tagger, a graffiti artist, that he's a gang member, and he was trying to do some gang signs, which just didn't really look right. This is a good match. Just Incredible, aka PJ Walker, I always thought was a really good wrestler. He does pick up the win here. That's followed up with an interview, much like we had with Jerry Lawler, a little smidget, basically of what to come. They do this almost every time going to commercial break on this show. We have Luther Biggs with Doomsday, and much like PJ Walker, you would know by a better name, you would know Doomsday better as Kane. For that opening segment, I'm giving that a 3. I thought it was good. Could have been better. Coming out of that, we have Doomsday in a handicap match going up against Buster Johnson and Keith Roberson. I enjoyed this. I know it's nothing more than just a squash match, but these were two bigger guys. At least visually, it looked like Doomsday would have trouble with him, but he doesn't. He runs through them. Doomsday picks up the win here. I thought this was a good way to show off how devastating he could be. Then we go into a promo with Doomsday and Luther Biggs again. That's followed up with a little teaser promo. I'm going to call them teaser promos from here out, by PG-13, saying that they're going to come out later. PG-13 at the time had switched sides and joined ECW. This was right in the middle of the ECW-USWA war, where they were sending talent back and forth to help each other. For that, I'm giving it a 4. I really enjoyed how they used Doomsday here, how they made him a monster, and I like PG-13, and anytime they get on my show, I enjoy it. After that, we're treated to a flashback of last week, which is the infamous time that Billy Joe Travis legitimately got arrested on Memphis television. The story goes, and this is all allegedly because I don't know what came of the charges, there was a warrant for Billy Joe Travis for child support, and they were going to arrest him, and Jerry Lawler talked the cops into letting them use it as an angle. Part of the angle is Brian Christopher got him arrested for damaging his Chevy Blazer. They show that. They show a little interview with Billy Joe Travis, who's obviously fired up because of this. Then we get an impromptu interview with PG-13, basically saying that nobody here respects them, so therefore they're joining ECW, where they are respected and they have friends. Then we get to see a video of Brian Christopher getting attacked at a show with Billy Joe Travis, Luther Biggs, and Doomsday doing the attacking. I thought this was all pretty good. I'm giving this segment a 3. Next up, we have Mr. Wrestling versus Spellbinder, and no, this isn't the Mr. Wrestling you're thinking of. I have no idea who it was under this. This is a quick match, basically a way to reintroduce Spellbinder to the company. He had been gone for a little while. Before the match, we see Luther Biggs again, who's all over the show, and Reggie B. Fine come out and give Spellbinder their business cards, basically trying to recruit him. Spellbinder makes quick work of Mr. Wrestling. He picks up the win here. Afterwards, we see Dutch Mantell. He's talking to the announcer, and the announcer's name's is slipping my mind right now. It's definitely not Lance Russell. He was filling in for Lance. And he tries to get the Spellbinder over there to talk to him. Spellbinder says no. Then we get another bumper interview, or a little snippet, with Mabel and Reggie B. Fine, because Mabel's going to be wrestling later in the show. For that segment, again, I'm giving it a 3. I thought it was good. Not much more than that. Next up, we have another interview, this time with Brian Christopher. He's talking about why he did what he did with Billy Joe Travis, that Billy Joe Travis committed a crime. Why wouldn't he call the police on him? Which, kind of funny that this may be the only time in wrestling history that they've used that logic. That brings out Luther Biggs, who was Billy Joe Travis's manager at the time. He brings out Doomsday, talks Brian Christopher into a match right then with Doomsday. This match was going pretty decent. I thought it was really good. You know, two good workers, Kane and Brian Christopher. It eventually gets broken up when Billy Joe Travis and Biggs enter the ring, basically getting Doomsday disqualified. They get ran off by Spellbinder in a strange change of events, because Spellbinder Spellbinder and Brian Christopher up until that point had been in a feud. Afterwards, we see an interview with Spellbinder. He explains why he did what he did, asked Brian Christopher to come over, says he hates Brian Christopher, but he respects him and he's not going to let anybody just beat him up. So if Brian Christopher needs him help, shake his hand. They shake hands. I thought this was all pretty good. A good way to reintroduce Spellbinder, a good way to turn him and make him a fan favorite. Another way of putting Doomsday in a high-profile role here. For this segment, I'm giving this a 4. Next up, we get our match with Mabel. Mabel against Flash Flanagan. This was pretty decent. I thought Mabel looked good here. Flash Flanagan gave a lot for him. Ultimately, this kind of feels like rinse, wash, repeat a little bit, though, because during the match, PG-13 comes out and they attack Flash Flanagan, basically like what we just seen in the segment before. For that reason, I'm giving it a 3. A little bit too repetitive back to back. Then we get the interview with Jerry the King Lawler, who basically says he's not going to announce if Brian Christopher is his son or not until next week, and they can do it properly. Yet another MacGuffin to bring you back, I guess. That leads us to an impromptu match. JC Ice going up against Tony Williams. I actually thought this was a really good match. I'm not familiar with Tony Williams. I don't remember him. He must not have wrestled long, or he may have switched gimmick and I'm just not realizing what he became later on. This is a good match. It was fun. Ultimately, JC Ice picks up the win with a roll-up here. I'm giving the final segment a 4. All in all, I thought this was a good show, not a great show. A lot of stuff that I thought was good. The Doomsday stuff, the Brian Christopher, Billy Travis stuff, Spellbinder's reintroduction. It did feel like a lot of it was just paint by numbers. Let's go through the motion. For that, I'm giving the entire show a 3. I thought it was good, not great. This is towards the dying days of USWA, and you can see here they were getting help by the WWE. I mean, WWE sent down Mabel here. They had a working agreement with ECW, so they were trying everything. I think PJ Walker was on loan by WWE. At the time, he was Aldo Montoya, or it may have been just before he became Aldo Montoya. It's a good show, not a great one. If you do want to check this out, and I forgot to mention this in the beginning, there is going to be a link to the video I reviewed right here in the description, so if you want to check out the video yourself, I recommend clicking on that. Send a like over there, tell them I sent you. With all that being said, let's smash that like button, share the video, subscribe if you haven't. And if you made it all the way to the end, give me a Mabel in the comments. I don't think we've ever shouted out Mabel. Give me Mabel down here in the comments. With that being said, my name is George Coles, and we've been walking in Memphis.